Film Club. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, fine.
Thank you very much for joining us for an episode of Film Club. I'm one your host, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, it's Andy Donaldson.
Hello.
What was this all about?
My volume sometimes goes lower, so I have to compensate with gain. I'd rather not do that. So when I speak this way, it's louder, but when I speak there, because it's like a bit...
Every single week in Film Club, we invite you along to watch a film with us. We dive into some of cinema's best before coming back here to talk it out. Andy, what have we been watching this week?
Dallas Buyers Club.
Dallas Buyers Club. I've been so excited to talk about this. So what is Dallas Buyers Club all about?
A guy who's homophobic and is a bit of a cowboy, and he develops AIDS because he fucks a lot of prostitutes, and they use intravenous drugs. So those who don't know what I mean by that, they inject shit into their arms. Sorry, that sounded really condescending. Sorry. He gets AIDS. Everyone thinks he's gay. He's like, no, I'm not. I won't dare be one of those did that and the other. And then he eventually he tries to have this AZT shit. He fucking knocks himself out, goes to hospital. He meets a transvestite or transsexual, let's say.
Yep, it's never clarified if they're transgender.
She might as well be like she refers to herself as her and stuff like this. Transvestite, transsexual, and he's like a bit like that at first, but they develop like a little because they're in the same room. She helps him out a little bit there, and then he goes down south. He's about to make drugs from Mexico.
Yeah.
Goes on a road trip, sees his doctor. This doctor's like, AZT shite. Use all these drugs, which is just like vitamin supplements. They'll extend your life loads. He was given 30 days, and then he lives 7 years past what. And he goes back up north. The drugs aren't allowed from the FDA. AZT's promoted. AZT's are quite poisonous in the amount that they're having, because it's only they're having high dose. You should only have a smaller dose. And then he distributes drugs out to everyone. He doesn't sell them. They all become part of a club. They get given free drugs, but they subscribe to the Dallas Buyers Club, which is where they get the drugs from. So it's like a loophole around, and it's him fighting the FDA essentially.
Yep, it is.
And fuck me, what a film!
It's so good, isn't it? I feel like we haven't had like a film for a while that I've been able to just completely gush about, and this is a film that I just want to gush about.
So the reason why we gush about it, and we are gushing, is it won the 2 main awards it won anyway. It's Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor by Matthew McConaughey, who plays Ron, the guy who contracts AIDS, a homosexual at the start, a cowboy. And then you got Jared Leto as Rayon, who's the transsexual transvestite. I don't know whose performance I enjoyed more.
I know. That's what I kept going back and forth between. It's
insane, because when I first saw it, I was thinking, Matthew McConaughey, kind of like a ladies' man, and all these films, like bit of romantic, rom-com kind of films. And then he suddenly just fucking wows it with this. I mean, he'd done it in Interstellar recently, around then. I don't know if it was before or after.
No, Interstellar's after this.
All right, well, so this is Matthew McConaughey starting to get into serious roles. And my God, you see it, it's just like, fucking hell, there's so much depth to that character and so much character arc about him as well.
Yeah.
But then you see Rayon, who's just like, I'm scratching my head there, Jared Leto. I mean, I knew him from fucking 30 Seconds to Mars when we used to listen to 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
He's in Panic Room as well. He's like one of his first major film breakouts.
I always think of him as Fight Club. Then he's a small.
He's the assassination of JF Kennedy, isn't he? He's in that summit.
Yeah.
So he puts on weight.
My point of reference always Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, of course, yeah, Requiem for a Dream, great shout. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, so Jared Leto, and how he just really good word to describe some actors. Some great actors out there. Who this is? Gary Oldman. Recently, when he does The Darkest Hour, he's what I call, a few other people I've heard call a chameleon actor who can just morph into all these different roles and change. Jared Leto, my God, he's a chameleon in this. Like, how he's done that, like, I literally scratching my head.
It's got to be my favourite Jared Leto role, I think.
Oh, easily.
Like, Requiem comes close.
Requiem is fucking tough.
But this is like, it's so different. It's so out there. Like, if someone watched this film and didn't realise it was Jared Leto, I would not hold that against them.
I know, right? I know.
Because it is so transformative.
Yeah.
And like, apparently he for when he, like, at the beginning of the film, is it? Or towards the end when he's really, really slim.
He loses a lot of weight.
He lost like 20 pounds for that.
Well, he's a bit like, even Matthew McConaughey has lost a shitload of weight. You see the way he contorts his body in the film?
Well, funny enough, we spoke last week when we watched, if you haven't seen it, last week we had a look at Philadelphia, which thematically we were kind of following this whole HIV thing. For that film, I'm pretty sure Tom Hanks
Was
had
it 60?
lost
No,
20,
20.
12 or 20, one or two. Matthew McConaughey for this apparently lost £50.
£50.
£50. But like that, especially that scene where like he's passed out in Mexico, you can see it.
Oh, I know, with all this.
You can see it there.
It's like Christian Bale level of weight loss
Yeah.
for the Machinist. Because Christian Bale, if you look at a picture of Christian Bale, the Machinist, and then you look at the film he did after, which is Batman Begins, or the second one, Dark Knight, and you look at the different comparison. Christian Bale's has been referred to as the weight different person. I don't know what the correct phrase is.
Different person.
The weight shifter. There we go. There's a good phrase.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey and even Jared Leto, you look at them and it's like, bloody hell, well played. That's some
It's complete dedication to the role, and it really, really shows.
And it doesn't just come across physically as well, like the way they put themselves in character. Yeah. Like Matthew McConaughey at the start of the film is a dick.
Yeah, yeah.
He's semi-likable, but he's a dick. And then at the end, he's just like, my God, who's this guy? Like, you're fucking rooting for him, and all crap at the end. And you see how genuinely happy he is, and he's like...
But it's the amazing subtle change that happens. It's not like a point happens, like a thing happens, and now he's actually on board with homosexuality. It's subtle. It's all just step by step.
My favourite moment, probably by that, is he goes, he comes in from his where he's been to Mexico or something. He comes back and he comes in. He goes, you all right there? Where's the idiot? He goes, I thought you knew. In the hospital. Then he's just out the door.
Yeah,
leaves. It's just like. Shit.
And
he goes in the room and he's just absolutely devastated. And there's a couple of parts where he breaks down his car. I think one's in Mexico, or when he goes to.
It's before he goes to Mexico. He's got the gun.
Yes,
that's great. He pulls over at the side of the road and just starts sobbing. And like similarly, Jared Leto gets a great moment.
Oh, is that when he's in bed?
When
he throws up blood.
Yeah, he's coughing up blood. This is right before he dies, and he says to his boyfriend, I think it is,
I don't want to die.
I don't want to die. And you're like, oh my God,
that is like. Yeah, fantastic.
It's amazing. The fonts are fantastic throughout,
but we can't skip by Jennifer Garner, who I really loved as well.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
She doesn't get a lot of material to work with.
I agree, and I was really happy with her. I liked her. I liked their relationship at the start, and then towards the end, I really liked her chemistry with Matthew McConaughey. It was nice.
Yeah, I mean, the film is very clearly like it's an actor's. Well, no, the director has made this an actor's film, and it's directed by a guy called Jean-Marc Vallée, which I believe, if I'm remembering right, this is his first English film or American film. It's his first Hollywood film. I could be wrong. You looking that up?
Canadian, Montreal.
Canadian. Okay, yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is his first American film, and everybody part of the cast were talking about how he really made the atmosphere and the way the set ran. He built it around the idea of the performances. Like you see it in the film. There are these long takes that happen throughout the whole film. The film is basically shot like a documentary. They're not scared to move the camera a lot and to like spin it round and to go like rather than doing like a
I never saw this when I watched it.
Move it up. It's like they'll just move the camera between shots instead. And it basically resulted in like these long 10-minute takes, which the actors love because that means they could just get into character for a long period of time and just play it out. In addition to this, one of the things that just this film, you guys are seeing this down here, but it is beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Who's the cinematographer?
Oh, I read this. Oh, in the credits, I can't remember what's his name.
Pronounce it.
Oh, Yves Bellinger.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Yves.
He had collaborated with the director before, but they'd never actually worked in a film together before. This is their first film together.
They are doing two more. He's doing Demolition and he did Wild. So he's doing Wild. He's come out, but he's collaborated since.
Just to compound on this immensely impressive production, right? He's doing these long takes. They're only working on a budget of about $5 million, which once you've got Matthew McConaughey and you've got Jared Leto and you've got Jennifer Garner, that money's starting to go.
Yeah. $5 million, that's actually quite a small... I didn't know, that's just fucking tiny. Dude, right, okay, here we are. This is the one comparison we'll always do it to. The Room who recently come in, the disaster artist that James Franco did.
Yep.
The Room, the original film The Room, was $6 million. So The Room was more than Dallas Buyers Club.
This was cheaper than The Room.
And had quite big actors, like we're talking like fucking big actors.
So in order to get around some of these production issues, they made one of the best and most impressive production choices ever. They basically almost didn't light this film. It's basically all natural lighting.
Oh, what a shout.
I think the odd shot is some artificial lighting.
So Stanley Kubrick.
Hugely, hugely impressive. I mean, they got away with it not because they developed lenses like Kubrick did when we're talking about
Barry Lyndon.
They used what's called an Arri Alexa.
I know what that is.
An Arri Alexa. For those of you who don't know, it's a relatively recent camera, but it can pull loads of color and detail out of shadows, so you don't have to feed it loads of light like old film.
Is it like a Blackmagic?
Well, kind of. Depends on what Blackmagic you're talking about. An Alexa is a much better camera than a Blackmagic.
Okay.
Where was I going with that? So yeah, so that also adds to that kind of documentary feel. They then didn't use any tripods or any dollies or any sliders in this film. All handheld.
See, I quite like that.
It all just makes it feel...
Didn't know this.
It makes it feel rough and gritty, but real, and it looks gorgeous. And all of that helps with the thing that we haven't mentioned yet, based on a true story, which is equal parts heartbreaking and also hugely impressive. The writer for this, I can't remember who the writer
screenwriter is. Or the writer? Or the screenwriter?
It's
written by Craig Bolton and Melissa Wallach.
Craig Bolton. About a month before Woodrow died, found out about what was going on and got to go and interview him.
Holy shit!
And apparently just talked to him for hours, trying to find out as much as he could. So got actually from the horse's mouth, got to tell this story.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
it's amazing. So how did the concept come about first? Do you reckon he had the idea? It was pitched at a few different directors, look, I'm thinking of doing this.
So apparently it was there was an article written about Woodrow. Mm-hmm. The writer, sorry, I can't remember his name, Bolton. Is that right?
Bolton.
Yeah, Bowton.
Burten. Burten.
So Bolton eventually read this article, got in contact with him, went and did his research, went and spoke to him, went and eventually wrote a draft of the script. I think brought someone else on to help write it as well.
Yeah.
And then tried to ship it around places, tried to get various people on board, various studios to take it. At one point, Ryan Gosling was attached to it.
What was the main gaffer?
I'd imagine so.
Wow, impressed at that. Mm. So it was set in 1985. Was that the same time as Philadelphia?
Roughly, yeah. Philadelphia, we decided last week.
Early 90s, late 80s,
late 80s, early 90s.
I'm not
in terms of the way people treat
people
who have HIV in this film, the way they get treated from others is kind of similar to Philadelphia.
But it's a more
people don't want
film.
to touch them. And it's people are uneducated at this point.
Uneducated.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's the main thing about this film. That's where Matthew McConaughey makes Dallas Buyers Club. People are uneducated not only about the illness and about how it's spread and how you contract it, but also by the treatment. And the character Ron does a lot of research, and that's why he's making these drugs that do make you feel better. He said that AZT is not good for you at the time being because he kind of recycles, but also expands upon the knowledge of that doctor in Mexico.
Yeah,
he's a doctor who got his license revoked. The point is, there is a lot of learning in this film, and that's how it goes. With Philadelphia, it was more so a court case up against his previous employer. That was more of a film about, it was AIDS, and then it was more so about gay rights. Not gay rights, what's the word? Thingy towards gay, but just being homophobic. Yeah, it's more of a film of homophobia, especially in the corporate world.
Philadelphia was a film that needed to happen. Philadelphia was a film which needed to happen to mark a change in the way Hollywood addressed some of those topics. Mm. It's not. I don't think it's a film that holds up too well. Some bits of it do, whereas this feels, although it's set in '85, it feels contemporary. It deals with things in a much more mature, personal way, and a much more less Hollywood way. It's kind of it never. We were talking last week about the fact that Do Have Philadelphia is based on a true story as well, but even the fact that they win that court case, Whereas here, it's a much more nuanced sort of ending.
Yeah.
He doesn't win, but then he
just carries on.
He kind of gets the drug for personal use at the end.
Yeah.
And it's a nice kind of like, you get a little bit of having your cake and eating it too. It's not the more kind of cheesy Hollywood ending.
I like that. I do think I like this film more. Me and our dad, we used to go to the cinema. I'd have one of those Cineworld cards, and Orange Wednesdays, we'd go ahead and it was I'd get them for free on a Wednesday. And we'd always watch films. We've seen some fantastic films. Just out of chance, and I saw this come about. Everyone's raving on about. I said, "Oh, let's go and see this, son." Son to my dad. Let's go and see this, son.
You have a complicated family life.
I do. And we saw it, and I remember at the end, we were just like, kind of like, there's a few films that we did this one. There was like one called Philomena, it was 12 Years a Slave, and we just looked at each other after and was like, wow, like, genuinely, what the hell we just watched was like one of the best films I've probably seen in the cinemas in a long time.
The thing that has always just, it's kept itself burned in my mind with Dallas Buyers Club. Anytime someone says Dallas Buyers Club to me, I immediately picture the scenes that bookend this film. The scenes that open it and the scene that closes it, where it's him and the bull. He's at the bull. He's at the bull fighting.
Yes.
And I can see those shots in my head where like the camera is through the kind of the bar wood, and you're seeing the bull and the bit like I think it opens. The one that opens it is where he's having sex with the two prostitutes.
Yeah.
And he's watching somebody die on the other side of the wall.
Then at the end one, because early in the film he relates to Jennifer Garner's character, who she is called. I should really get a name. Dr. Eve Sachs. Eve, that's it.
Yes,
Eve.
Yeah.
So it relates to Eve, how all he wants to do is just be on top of a rodeo and I think having a beer or something, like that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the end of the film, I feel like that's his, he's there now, he's got on, well, that's where he was happiest in his life. He
is, I mean, metaphorically and almost like figuratively, he's getting back on the horse. Like that's what he's doing. He's conquering something.
But is that him at the end? Is that him post-AIDS, post all this Rayon dying on the things? I don't know whether it's just a flashback to a previous when he was happy, or it is actually him on the bull.
I got the impression it was
I think
him on the bull at that time, because there's a bit of hesitation in his movements.
Yes.
And it just feels right to have him taking, like, again, literally taking the bull by the horns sort of thing.
Yeah. And to be like, you know what, I'm back on this. I genuinely love this film.
I absolutely adore it. And one of my favourite moments, I just want to mention this before we start wrapping things up. Relatively close to the beginning of the film, when he doesn't know he hasn't been diagnosed with HIV yet, and he goes home, and the audio cuts out, and he collapses.
Oh man, that's amazing! Yeah, when he goes, it's almost tinnitus. Yeah, and it goes and ringing in the ears, and it kind of like shifts in and out of phase almost, and then it just cuts out.
And then just to subvert your expectations and to give you this wonderful character moment, he doesn't like wake up in a hospital with somebody looking at him saying his name. He wakes up exactly where he collapsed, on the floor of his is it a trailer he lives in, which just wonderfully summarizes his personal life. He has no one. He's got no family.
Yeah.
And then,
but there's that lovely moment where it happens again in the car, and he's a bit lost because of all this. And then the policeman, who he has like a weird friendship with, takes him back, injects his arm, and he's like, at first the policeman was like, look, you're a bit of a dick. Then he helps him with the drugs for his dad.
Exactly.
And then he's just like, look, I actually see more than that.
They show this character growth so well in just so many subtle, nuanced ways.
I can't believe it's a budget of $5 million. That's actually really surprised me.
Like, hats off to them. This film is phenomenal. If you haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club yet, and for some reason you have watched this far, go and watch the film. It's phenomenal. So that's Dallas Buyers Club. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of the film, or you can hit us up on Twitter, as always. We'll be back once again next week, Andy, by request.
Well, we've been on about doing it a while, then coincidentally, Gabriel said, do Goodfellas. So we're doing Goodfellas.
Yep, we are finally getting around to Goodfellas. Gabriel, just for you, and hopefully everyone else is going to enjoy it as well. I cannot wait to do Goodfellas.
Oh, he hasn't seen it.
Haven't seen Goodfellas yet. So we'll see you next week.
Oh man, I can't wait. It's going to be fucking mint. I can't believe you haven't seen it.
See you later.
What do you mean I'm funny?